Hello, I am your host, Christopher Austin, with some thoughts before this episode begins. Primarily, let's begin with the tragic passing of Sam Neill. When we recorded this episode, when we spoke about this movie, The Piano, Sam Neill was very much still alive and with us, and we were more blessed to have him with us as film lovers, as Sam Neill lovers. His passing is very, very, very tragic. He is, and I'm sure I say this on the call, and I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say he's just one of those actors that you loved. You were just completely in love with, no matter what kind of character he played. In The Piano, he plays quite a villainous character, and he was just so captivating on screen. I mean, he was so unique, there was such an utter charm and vulnerability to him, and yeah, he will be sorely missed. Obviously, Jurassic Park being, especially in my generation, growing up in the 90s, just the most iconic figure in all of, cinema. I mean, yeah, yeah, he was amazing. We had no idea when we recorded this episode that we were so close to his passing, and we recorded this episode a few weeks ago, and in the time that has elapsed between recording and getting the episode out there, the news broke that he had passed away. So I just wanted to say from all of us here at Phoenix Cinema Podcast that he will be missed, that we adore him, and I hope that when you listen to this episode about this really good movie, The Piano, understand that this is a time, we were all speaking about this movie and everyone involved in it from a real, genuine, honest place, and from that honesty, I hope it comes across how much we love Sam Neill. So may this episode be dedicated to him. Also, the other reason I am doing this special note before the episode begins is because this episode, as it transpires, is going to be our 100th episode. Now, again, we didn't realize this at the time due to scheduling and rescheduling and the order in which we put episodes out. But yeah, this is episode 100. 100. Thank you to everyone who has supported us. I want to thank my good friend Luke for, as I've always said, saving the podcast, because that's what he did. He saved it by agreeing to be my co-host at a certain point very early on in the run of this podcast. The podcast was almost dead. I was kind of left in the water, floating on a ruptured vessel, very much like Sam Neill in Dead Calm, all by my lonesome, and wondering how I was going to continue this thing. And I reached out to Luke, and he agreed to do it, and equally so for Stefan, for my brother, for the editor, for the composer of the podcast, who also agreed to take over and do his thing, do his work, and do it out of the kindness and goodness of his heart and goodwill. And without Luke, without Stefan, certainly this podcast would not exist. So I want to thank you both, because you have helped me, you've helped us, all of us, reach 100 episodes. And I also want to extend my thanks to the film club, to everyone involved with the film club, to Zaylen. I mean, Jesus, the manager of the Phoenix Cinema. Without him, this podcast would not be a thing. It would not exist without his approval, without his yes, without his enthusiasm and support. It's from the beginning. You know, it says a lot about him that he was willing to give us this opportunity and trust in us. And look, episode 100. When, you know, when this whole venture easily could have died at episode, I don't know, 17. So thank you, Zaylen. Also, thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for all the continuing guests who keep coming back to talk movies with us. And in doing so, you know, support us. You know, that's so important. Thank you to all the guests who have been on the podcast so far, the incredible actors, directors, film composers, writers who we've had on here. You know, it's been truly special and such a wonderful platform to just connect with artists, to connect with like-minded people who, at the end of the day, just love films, you know, and just share that passion, that enthusiasm that just sits deep within us, that compels us to keep coming back every episode and talk about something else, but most of all, to spend time with each other as well, to meet new people and keep branching out. I never expected, I had no idea how far this podcast would go. I really didn't when this all began. So to reach triple digits, to reach 100 feels like a very, very special achievement for me. So yes, this is episode 100. We don't mention it on the episode because we don't know it at the time, but it is, and that is definitely something to celebrate. So thank you all, and rest in peace, Sam Neill. Enjoy the episode. Hello, and welcome to Phoenix Cinema Podcast Film Club, where a community of film nerds just like myself gather to rate and review films of our choosing. Why? Because we love movies and we love talking about them with each other most of all. Joining me today is my co-host Luke Parker. How are you, Luke?
Hey Chris, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So, do you know what I realised? I never say I'm Chris Austin. I never say that. I literally just realised.
You don't need to introduce yourself, Chris. We all know who you are.
Just voice of God, really.
And of course, joining us as well is Hannah Tavares, our fellow film club member. How are you, Hannah?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And today is your pick for the film club, which is Jane Campion's movie from 1993, The Piano.
In the mid-19th century, a mute Scottish woman called Ada travels to colonial New Zealand with her young daughter Flora for an arranged marriage to a frontiersman, Alistair Stewart. Ada has not spoken since childhood and expresses herself solely through playing her beloved piano. When Stewart refuses to transport the heavy instrument, a neighbour named George Baines offers to retrieve it in exchange for piano lessons. These intimate lessons ignite a passionate forbidden affair, setting off a chain of tense, life-altering consequences for all involved. So Piano, is this one that we've all seen before, or is this a first-time watch for anyone? I think, Chris, you mentioned you'd seen it relatively recently, actually.
Quite recently, yeah. By quite recently, 2 years ago, I happened to just put it on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like recent for me.
Are you like a vampire that's recent to you? 2
But it's
years
funny
ago.
because yeah, 2 years ago I was like, oh, that feels recent to me, and yet watching it, I'm like, I can fucking barely remember anything
Mm.
that's coming next. So it was long enough. It was long enough. What about yourselves?
I hadn't seen it in a few years, but I have it on DVD, and I also have the screenplay of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nice.
oh,
but
lovely. So,
yeah, first watch in a while.
geez, I mean, you have it in all formats. So, are you the
Super
biggest fan
fan.
of this movie? Yeah. I mean, why don't you
Uh,
kick us off because you chose it? So, yeah, tell us about your history with it.
well, before I do, Luke, how had you watched it before? Yes or no?
Yes, I'm just looking on Letterboxd now, and the last time I
Oh,
logged it was in March 2022.
so fairly
So
Okay.
I was
recently.
about to say not that long ago, but that's over 4 years ago, which is gross to think about. But
Maybe the years are really flying by
yeah.
for everybody. Um, yes. I'm trying to think of what the history is. Again, I know it's come up before when we talk about films for Film Club. I was a big visitor of the library, and the librarians never checked the ratings on anything that I took out. So I watched a lot of things, maybe before the right time. I just knew about the piano, but had watched it probably when I was a bit younger, maybe my early 20s, actually, not that young. But I was living in California and working with a young director from American Film Institute. And one of the errands I had to run when I was helping her student production was go to her home. And I was like, it was fascinating to be in a director and writer's home, especially a student. And amongst like the ephemera in her space was a really well read copy of Jane Campion's screenplay, The Piano. And I was like, okay. And in LA, I got lucky enough to find it at a used bookstore because they do have an entire section just for screenplays, which is
I love that.
Nice.
amazing. And I had watched some of Jane Campion's like shorter films, I think on YouTube before. I think one of them's called Milk. I might be getting that wrong. But yeah, I was just in a period of trying to discover female directors who are also directing materials written by themselves or by other women. And I picked this. This was one I had wanted to suggest a couple years ago too for Film Club. And this time around is between The Piano or The Virgin Suicides. Um,
Mm.
Oh, I'm so glad you picked this film. I'm so
yeah.
glad.
I picked it because I was like, I have just the memory of how lush and dark the film is just visually. Of course, I mean, the score itself, like I could recall that
Yeah.
main theme without having to pluck it
Right.
from the internet. But just I wanted to look back at the dynamics and the story itself, and kind of forgot that some of the whimsy that is shown in this film, either through Flora, just this youthful,
Yeah.
she herself is like a mischievous like spirit in the forest.
Yeah.
With all of it, I was so intrigued by it. I feel like I hadn't seen or read content that had characters like these. And I really love when something's very niche, like a woman who at 6 is like voluntarily mute. Um, all of it, it's just hyper specific. And I really wanted to know how you guys would engage with it. I think that's
Mm.
probably leads one of my picks is what are the guys gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you guys react to it? What do you think? So that was why I picked it, and I'm really
Awesome.
glad to see you guys both here to talk about it.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. And I'm so glad you picked it. Yeah, because I remember when I watched it, there was, again, it's just a different thing when you watch a movie and then you're just like, okay. And then you carry on with your life. And then it's another thing to watch it going, oh, no, I'm going to be talking about this, you know, with my friends. And so, and that it makes you sort of pay a bit more attention to it, I think.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that remained the same, one thing I remembered from my first viewing of it, you know, however long ago, 2, 3 years ago, was it's quite complex in terms of its characters and its character relationships. Nothing is very, black and white or straightforward. It's very complex and it's very well shaded. And that alone is just, is going to make for a very interesting discussion. But I think my feelings of the movie improved on a second watch. I had an idea of how I felt about it, and then watching it again, maybe there's
Sorry,
something.
so were you quite lukewarm after your first watch?
Yeah, kind of lukewarm. I was kind of like, did I like that? Did I not? I liked elements of it, maybe, but
Sure.
would I watch it again? Probably not. And being forced to watch it again this time, I don't know. I just it grew on me even more, which was interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Ooh.
Um,
Cool.
yeah. What about yourself, Luke?
Yeah, so when I so yeah, I remember now I watched this in March 2022, and that was a year where I consumed a lot of movies, and that's kind of that's like when I first joined the first film club, and I was really, really getting into film at that point. I think in 2022 I watched like almost 300 films or something. And it's like,
Oh my
Amazing.
god.
and at that point, like I remember it was just a bit of a routine every day in the evening after work or after uni. I would just sit and watch a movie, and it was
I'm
great. Don't get me
inspired,
wrong,
Luke.
but when you watch that many movies, like they kind of it becomes hard to distinguish them and differentiate between them. You kind of, even I'll admit, like you kind of over consuming a little bit. So I couldn't actually remember too much about it, even though I guess 4 years ago isn't really that long.
Mm.
There are elements of it that I did remember, particularly the score. In fact, I remember learning it on the piano that summer because I was so in love with it. The main theme is called "The Heart Asks Pleasure First." I think that's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
such a beautiful piece of music. Yeah,
Oh, it's gorgeous.
but yeah, I totally agree with what you were saying, Chris. In that, even though I couldn't remember it in that much detail, I remember the. Okay, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the film a bit here, but I remember the main kind of relationship and characters being quite tricky to decipher. That's not to say I didn't like it or enjoy it. It was quite abnormal and a little bit hard to get your head around to kind of understand the decisions and actions that they're making. And on this rewatch, I felt the same way about those characters and the choices that they make and the
Yeah.
relationships between them. But I'm again the same as you, Chris, where the film still improved on a rewatch for me, even though I did still like it the first time. So yeah, I'm really glad you chose this film, especially over Virgin Suicides. Now that you said that, because I have very strong opinions on that film.
Well, yeah. I mean, we watched the Virgin Suicides in the last film club. I can't remember. Don't know if it
Yeah,
was
and
Leone.
I went through your Instagram. That's what I was like, I can't pick that one.
Oh, you weren't there.
No, I don't know if I was part of it, but I just saw you guys had covered it before. So I was like, nah.
Right, I see. Yeah, I can't. I feel like it was early days. I can't remember who picked it, but
I can't remember us doing that. Maybe I just missed that one.
I
Oh
think
my
maybe
God,
it was
wait, Leone
even.
did pick it.
Was it Leone?
If it wasn't,
Or was it Caroline? Maybe it was Caroline that picked it.
That would have been before my time then, probably.
Yes,
but
I
either
think
way, like
I think it was.
Either way, no, it's just yeah, I'm not a fan of that film. But
Oh God, I really liked it. But
interesting. Maybe we will have to discuss it one day then.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Despite the fact that it's been done before, technically.
yeah, maybe we will actually. But yeah, I think again. I mean, I mention her all the time, but Carrie Ann is like a part of this film club who never shows up to the calls, basically. So she's,
You have to persuade her. You keep trying to persuade her, Chris.
yeah,
to show.
she's the extra invisible member of this group, and that's purely because 9 times out of 10, I watch the movies with her. It falls on a day that I'm off and we're together, and I'm like, sorry, we have to watch this movie because so and so picked it. And she was like, what movie is it? It's called The Piano. Okay, what's it about? And I briefly explained what I remembered of it. And she was like, okay, She was like, "You watch that, and I'm gonna." She went, "I'm gonna go and watch something else." She wanted to watch this. Is it called? It's called "I Kissed a Girl." So it's like this lesbian reality show
I
that
just
she.
heard about this today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
she got me to watch one episode of it, and the next day we're like talking like dynamics, and I know everyone's name, you know. And I was like, that's fair enough. This does not sound up her street. She's like, it sounds depressing, not interested. So I was like, okay, yeah, you go, do your thing. I put the movie on. She had a quick shower. She decided against watching whatever. She decided to just come and sit and just check it out. She watched the whole movie and
Oh.
invested and was like, at one point, she was like, okay, this is better than I thought it was going to be. And I was like, it always is, though. You can't just judge a movie off of, but she's always a great barometer, a great test of like first time watch. And she was really, really invested in the characters, in the story, in the filmmaking. I thought that was a really good, a good gauge
Mm.
of the movie.
Maybe we need to offer Carrie Ann to do a pick, and then maybe she can show.
Yes, I was thinking that too. Even if she doesn't show, if she's like not into being in front of a camera or recorded, I would love to know what she would pick.
I shall let her know the offer's been extended. I shall let her
Carrie
know
Ann.
that. I hope it's not a lesbian reality series because all 25 episodes.
Hey,
No,
we're open to everything here at PCP
yeah.
Film Club. So
I would love it. Oh,
But
okay.
well, let's talk about the cast because I think
Mhm.
first of all, straight off the bat, it's incredible, right? And you look at the names Holly Hunter, Sam Neill, Harvey Keitel, and you're like, fucking hell, okay, this is quite a stacked cast. And then you realize did you say she was 11, Hannah? An 11-year-old or
She was
10-year-old
about
even?
filming. Yeah.
Yeah, 10-year-old Anna Paquin. And
is that
and
still the
yeah,
youngest Oscar of all time?
I don't. We were just talking about it.
yeah, we were literally just having this conversation. Um, So, all right. So we know who the oldest is, and I think it's Christopher Plummer. So, who is the youngest actor?
Tatum O'Neal, youngest female Oscar winner in 1973 for Paper Moon.
Paper Moon.
Yeah.
Oh, how
At
old was
10.
she?
She was 10 when she won it. So she was 9
10.
when she was filming. Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
That's a movie I've always wanted to watch. To be fair, I've heard great things about it.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, still, super young. But the thing is, what was a lovely reveal was that I was watching the movie with Carrie Ann. Halfway through, I was like, Anna Paquin is the best thing about this movie, right? She's just every time the movie cuts to her. I mean, first of all, she's adorable, and secondly, there's something with child actors and child performances where it blurs the line between is this a performance? This just looks like a child being a child. And yet there's no way it can just be that, right? Because there's setups, there's cameras, there's a whole process to filming, and yet she seems so free. And I thought she was absolutely wonderful. And she's asked to play some really tough material, especially towards the end. And I just thought she handled it magnificently.
I feel like her performance, like it's a little theatric and over the top, but to the point where it just comes across as very, very childlike and more authentic, rather than that being, a con towards the film. Like her performance is quite over the top, I feel, but it just works in its favor, I think.
Yeah. Also, Chris, to your point of how natural she seems in it, it's only when I clock. So I watch every movie with captions, in case I
Yes.
miss something. And with this, I think one of the longest pieces she had in the beginning, I was like, God, the dialogue this girl had, and there's a number, I don't even know how, like paragraphs, and I was like, wow, she's really got it down. Also, she's doing an accent that is not natural to her. She is not Scottish born. She has like an interesting
100%.
mixture of New Zealand and Canadian upbringing. Um, but
Oh,
yeah, she herself doesn't. I know her mainly doing American accents, but I think
same.
she's an
Yeah.
interesting mixture in real life. But yeah, something about the every time she's talking and retelling the story of her family or her mother, she's making something up. And this, I kept trying to think of that character. Like, she and her mother have an entirely secret world
Mm-hmm.
themselves. A literal language that just the two of them have. Nobody else speaks sign in the book, and she doesn't have any other companions. And I just think of the like her imagination runs wild, and then they're
Mm.
living in a space too that kind of mirrors back that wildness that Flora has as a child, but also Ada, because she's a contained individual to degrees, like visually. I mean, just the hairstyles of the time. And like when I finally see her with her hair loose is just like a revelation when she's
Yeah.
giggling in bed with Flora near like the middle end of the film. There's just so much in I love every aspect of production in this too. But
Mm.
they place this in a completely like I mean, again, it is colonialized New Zealand, the beginning of it. So it's an interesting, there's a lot of dynamics in there for sure. But I think of the wildness and imagination and like passion and big emotions.
Yeah.
Those are the things that like really draw me to it. And even if I don't pop it into the DVD player to rewatch, I'll kind of like internally rewatch scenes or moments because it
Right.
can bring so much. Like even if it's like a negative feeling, I love that. I love when films can do that.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's a fascinating relationship between the mother and daughter because and it's absolutely a parent, you know, child relationship. And yet at the same time, it gets flipped sometimes. There's like a weird, because this child has to be her mother's interpreter too,
Yeah,
you
she's
know,
literally
and
her.
yes, she has to be her voice. She has to communicate with these adults, which, to your point, is so interesting how that communication becomes fantasy and play for her at times. Um, yeah, really, really fascinating.
The relationship completely flips, right? Because I was thinking about how, like, in the first half, the 2/3 of the film, Flora and Ada, they're kind of just like extensions of each other, and they're like in every scene they're so close to each other, like touching each other, or
Physically, yeah, yeah.
yeah, you know, like they almost like seem like one entity between them, and then that completely breaks down to the point where Flora then go towards the end is completely basically snitching and going against her
Mm,
back, that kind of thing. And it's quite interesting how that change comes about because it's a little bit jarring and it's a bit unexpected, I think.
Yeah. Something I
yeah.
didn't. Ooh, go ahead.
No, no, please, please.
Um, Going off of what Luke just pointed out, I think it was in this watching that I clocked that early on Flora says when they're still on the beach that she's like, I'm not gonna call him Papa. I think it was at the beach.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then when we hear her say something about Papa, I was like, oh, she's turned. Her allegiance has turned. Like her, while Ada's spending more time with Baines, that separation really, like she goes right into Alasdair, like under his wing. Like even when he
Yeah.
like what is it what's the word not punishes her but like corrects her and stuff, like he
Yeah.
becomes a stronger figure I
Yes.
guess for her.
Yeah.
But that's when I caught, I was like, oh, because I think around the first time I watched it I was like, why? I was trying to understand, like, was it the jealousy she was feeling like about all of her mother's time with Baines, but yeah, also her
Has
newfound
to be.
attachment to Papa.
I
Yeah.
think it's complete. I think everything changed to the point where she sees them through that hole in Bane's house, and he just sees their two bodies together. It's like her feelings probably almost mirrored Alistair Stewart's
Mm.
feelings when he saw them as well, like this element of betrayal or jealousy, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's so fascinating because I never see the child and what she does at the end as like a turn, as like a villain turn, or
Oh,
I just
yeah,
see
yeah.
her as a child, and and it seems so natural to me because yeah, I think you're right. You know, when she sees her mother with Baines, when she sees the reaction of Alistair to what the mother's been doing, she understands that something's wrong here, and she says to her mom at one point, right, you weren't meant to go there, were you? um
Mm.
so she starts to understand that maybe, mum did wrong, and I totally get why she would want to go against her mother's wishes and go to Papa, and go because she feels like A, she's doing the right thing, and B, maybe she wants to please him. There's something to be said. There's clearly no father figure, male figure, in there. There's no dynamic there for her. And so this man is providing her with that, is providing her mum and her with a roof, and so accommodation and food and all of this, a whole life. And so it's almost like you feel you bow down to the authority in the room. And I was like, oh my God, when she ran to him with the piano key with the message, I was like, oh kid, you don't know what you're doing. I never, and it's only in the consequences of that does she really understand. You feel like this kid understands regret in an instant.
Oh gosh.
um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so complex, and so yeah, Anna Paquin won the Oscar for this movie. I mean, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Deserved,
Did Holly
deserved,
Hunter?
and
She did
Holly
too.
Hunter won everything. She won the Oscar, she won the BAFTA, she won the Golden Globe. So
Oh,
she cleaned up all the
oh
awards
wow.
for this
I
for
did
this
not know.
movie, um,
Wow. Wow.
which I also think is quite lovely and
Yeah.
deserved. What do you think? Because it's such a as a mostly silent performance, everything has to be communicated physically and through her eyes. It's wow, right?
Yeah,
Oh, I
completely
mean,
agree.
yeah, I agree. Also, Holly Hunter has a very unique voice. So the fact we only hear it
Right.
twice, like bookending the film, and it's this like, and she says this isn't what my actual voice sounds, is my mind's voice. Is like this high, like yeah, like a really high childish but very clear.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fascinating. Like there's something, the element to this character. There are so many like little layers. Like we really, she tells Flora the story essentially of how her father and her were together and why they weren't together. And even that, I don't know that I can believe her because I'm also feeling like, is is Ada also just like Flora? Like they really are mirror images of each other, just like coming up with these stories and this
Mm,
grandness. And even at the end, when they make the big move, she says, like I'm the town freak, and that's what it pleases her to be that. Like
mm,
they're very singular, these people, and yeah, the performance is something that I find beautiful. It's just all the things, the how piercing her eyes are too, so deeply like
oh my God.
lined with like the lashes. I mean, I love all of it, like her physicality too, like even like the first time when he's like, I want to lay together unclothed,
Yeah.
like, and we see her change, and it's yeah, and it's so complex, Chris. Like when you opened it, like there really isn't. I kept thinking, I was like, oh, I can't really. I don't feel compelled to go all in one way or other, or like judgmental
Yeah.
of the characters and the muddiness, not just of the like where they live, but like it can't. It's not really clear. Like
Yeah.
we get dirtied up by our desires that we want to hide or ones that we don't.
Mm,
It's so fascinating. Like I think now, like rewatching it after so many years, I was like, I am ready to watch it with a bit more frequency. My one complaint is I
mm.
have it on a copy of a DVD that's quite old, and I just find out that it's Criterion Collectioned now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want that one because I would love to see it clearer than the one.
100%. Yeah.
This is yeah. What versions did you guys watch it? Just like some old version because I've never seen it clear. I'd love to see it clean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tried streaming it,
Mhm.
a free stream, and
Okay.
I wasn't happy with the quality of it. So within 5 minutes, I was like, "Sorry, but I've got to rent this from Amazon."
Okay. Okay.
And so I spent
Oh, I got it for free on Apple TV. Get a free
what?
trial of Studio Canal. Yeah,
You're
Studio
kidding.
Canal, yeah, because it was on Studio.
yeah.
What?
I think I've used my free trial for
Oh,
Studio
fair enough. Fair
Canal.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because that was an option. Um, so yeah, I used Amazon, and straight away you had the C come up for Curzon. I was like, oh fuck, it's a Curzon title, and straight away the quality was crystal. I was like, yeah, it was gorgeous actually to watch. Um,
Um,
and yeah, I'm so glad you spoke to her voice in her head, because yeah, if you missed that, you could assume it was the voice of Flora,
oh, that's
right? You
right.
would
Mm.
think that's the voice. So yeah, to have this childlike, this really high lilting quality to it was
Lilting. That's the word
so
I was looking for.
yeah, it was disarming, and it wasn't what you expected. But yeah, her performance is absolutely, I think it's incredible, and it's really hard. And Jane Campion's writing is so, I think there's a lot of work that Holly Hunter had to do for herself, meaning Jane Campion isn't providing us, the audience, with the answers to what is Ada's backstory, what's their history. The movie opens right in the middle of this massive change in their lives, and all I kept saying for the longest time was, why? I want to know the answers. And in the end, you might not get every answer, but there's something beautiful about that, because the performances are so strong that it's like, oh, they fucking know. That's all that
Mhm.
matters. Right? Right?
I thought the opening was a bit odd in that how quickly it was obviously when we start with that voiceover and literally the very first shot of the film is when they're still in Scotland, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
I can't remember it.
literally the next shot is them then on the boat. So that opening shot, it feels like a little bit of a glimpse into their life back home, but
Mm.
it literally gives you nothing to work off, and it
Mhm.
in a way that makes it feel a little bit redundant. But I thought it was just a bit of an interesting choice to actually include that, whereas it could have very easily opened with them on the boat coming
Yeah.
directly onto shore.
Yeah.
Mm.
To the point where I was like, is this based on a book, this movie? It's got to be, right? Because it feels as if we've just taken, you know, the middle section of a book and
Mm.
made it into a movie. When I saw this was an original screenplay and that this was all a choice, I was like, wow, that is quite incredible to me.
Oh.
Uh, um, and okay, so yeah, let's talk about the men in the movie. So Sam Neill and Harvey Keitel, two actors I pretty much love. When I say love, I think I love Sam Neill so
Yeah.
much. Whenever he shows up on screen, I'm in love with the guy.
Yeah.
And I thought there was something really interesting that I said to Carrie Ann when we were watching it. Towards the end of the movie, I was like, I feel like their roles are reversed in terms of typecasting. I feel like Jane Campion pulled a surprise on us, and that you would absolutely expect Sam Neill to be the romantic interest and Harvey Keitel to play the overbearing, authoritative settler. And
Mhm.
I think for them to switch it the way that they did was a kind of, that felt intentional to me. Like, oh, I really didn't see
Mm.
this coming. What do you think
I
about
can see that. I can see where you're coming from.
that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that, but it, it now you say it, like it does look a little bit odd, right? Because Sam Neill's kind of a bit of like this pretty boy with
Yeah.
quite clean and yeah, like yeah, that's an interesting take for sure.
I think that does make
Yeah.
the characters more complex too, because of what you just stated, Chris, like the playing against type. Because it's fast, yeah. The sort of like genteel mannerisms that exist in Alistair, and he does not vibe, he does not gel with any of the actual
No.
the Maori people. I mean, even when he and Baines are out trying to negotiate, and they are not going to do business with that man, as they really should not.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so interesting. Oh, you know what? Never occurred to me, because I've only watched the movie twice, even though I really love it, is that Alistair, his relationship to this wild terrain, and even after that scene when he's walking with Baines, and he's like, they're not even utilizing it. They're like not even
Right.
reshaping it or anything. Baines understands why the Maori don't, and he also has no. It's honestly a reflection of how they react to Ada, because Baines does not have any desire to change her or to tame that like tempest that exists in her, where Alistair is disturbed by it. He's like, what do you think about somebody who plays the table like it's a
Yeah.
piano? Like,
Yeah.
he's and also he's just somebody who's not in touch at all with like this. I don't know. I kept trying to search for a word for it last night. I watched it last night. But this primal, in a very, and it, not in negative context or diminutive, but it was like the existence of love, passion, death, violence, everything that exists in the natural space is something that Alistair does not understand and fears, but there's something in him that I feel like wishes to be unleashed, but it comes out in extreme violence and a confused anger. But when we see him coming up and witnessing Ada and her affair with Baines, and that passion, that true unbridled passion, and he ends up underneath the floorboards, for Christ's sake. It's so crazy. Like, from outside like this, you can be like, yeah, I was walking by, I looked through a creek. This man crawled underneath the house. He was enthralled by this, which is, it's crazy. Like, the motivations, like how they act is they keep surprising me.
It keeps surprising you. Yeah, that's the thing. They keep surprising you. And I think what Campion does, and it's very clever, is she knows, and I never noticed it the first time, I only noticed it on the second viewing, but how much humor there is that she throws in there. I mean, for instance, that moment where, he finds out that she's etched with a knife the keys of a piano and is, pretending to play it, with her daughter. And when he's talking to that other woman later, and he's like, who would do that? Who would etch keys into a table? And he's truly thinking about it, and he's like, it doesn't make any sound. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. And then later on, at this really tense moment where he's looking through, the slats of the wood at his wife having a physical affair with another man, and what should be a moment where you are on the edge of your seat with, oh my God, violence is about to erupt at any moment. As Baines is going down on her, the dog starts to lick his hand.
What a detail.
Oh my God, I thought that was so funny. And he just brings his hand up, looks at it in disgust, and wipes it against. That's so funny. That's clearly intentional. And I really appreciated those touches of humor in this, for sure.
I'm so glad you called that out. I felt so viscerally, like, I felt some strange level of like shame when that was happening, and like all of it. I don't know. I couldn't even explain it, because I was like, oh God, did that just happen to happen when we were filming it? I was like, it did not occur to me that it could ever have been a direction, because I'm like, what are they saying?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
It's like kicking a man when he's already down, right? Because he's desperate for this intimacy and affection, and whilst he's there watching this between his wife and his friend, the only thing he's feeling is his dog. Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's so cruel. That is so cruel.
Another you said funny stuff. I'm looking at her name because I was forgetting Aunt Morag, and that mole and that hair is
Brilliant.
they are so weird and so hilarious in this movie.
So funny. You know, they're like a Greek chorus, you know, just there to sound off all the action, just comment on it. And it's, and I feel like the Maoris are the same.
Yeah.
And from the very first instance when they're on the beach and Ada's signing, and you see the Maori person a few paces behind her, just mimicking what she's doing, and then behind Sam Neill, every reaction he makes, the Maori guy behind him is imitating him, and it's so again, when you speak to the dynamics, it's so complex because it's like, ooh, maybe Sam Neill doesn't have as much authority here as he thinks he does. You know, he's seen as a bit of a joke. There's not from the offset. And yeah, okay, so if we're going to talk about the humor, what they walk into, I mean, it's almost like you immediately go, ooh, this marriage wasn't what was advertised in the brochure. You know, whatever got them over here is not the reality. You know, they're trekking through mud. They do the wedding photo in the pouring fucking rain. And just the way she stomps in afterwards and just taking all her soaking wet clothes off, it's funny. It's so funny. And I thought that was the contrast was amazing.
Speaking of the Maori people as well, there's that interesting scene with that play that the kids are doing, and then the Maori people don't realize it's a play, right? With that monster puppet shadow thing.
Bluebeard.
So good. By the way, can we say?
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing Bluebeard.
Oh, it was an actual. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a retelling of because it's all of his dead past wives. And when she goes into shadow, she's with the key because she found the secret space. And she discovered that horrible thing. And I was like, oh, fuck. That never clicked with me because when I was younger, had not been introduced to Bluebeard or anything. So I was like, oh, look at that.
Oh, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this. I was already impressed by their visual effects on stage. The women, the headless women in the fucking curtain in the wall, that was amazing. And the way they used the shadow and when the Maori people storm the stage and then afterwards they're shocked that these headless women are even alive and they're like looking them up. I turned to Carrie Ann, I was like, that's the power of theater, baby. That's
I'll tell you,
so good.
I get concerned a little bit because I think of some of Jane Campion's commentary in past recent years, which I won't go into. That'd be a different conversation. And I was trying to think of her relationship because she's a New Zealander herself. And she returns to New Zealand in different ways and interacts with Maori in different ways, like with her show, Top of the Lake with Elizabeth Moss.
Ooh.
So I'm so keen I want to know more about her relationship with the Maori, because in this film I was like, ugh, is she relying too heavily on these? They are so simple, like they don't understand the trickery and the theatrics and stuff. But also their chief is present in that scene, who understands what's going on, since he's probably had more exposure the colonizers and stuff like that. So like sometimes I'm towing that line, but also I've been trying to understand it in this viewing as not Jane Campion, white woman, put these people in that way, but also just showing people who are comfortable in the landscape and know themselves and their culture and their history. Because I was thinking of when the two Maori women are out in the woods with all the children, including Flora, and it was after Flora had peeked that scene, and they're all mimicking, like making out with the trees. And I was like, what a moment in being a child, because I was like, definitely did that with my friends, and it's so embarrassing. But you don't have like context to be embarrassed or ashamed about it. And then but Alistair is like, just the differences that I see pitted between the folks and Baines, obviously, because he really accepts and has become enmeshed with the Maori, and sorry for my multiple different pronunciations of it too. Um, but yeah, but I also really love that scene too. And then in the back when they all get shown, like, oh, everything's fake. And just
Yeah.
also how frivolous the folks are because they're like, they like charge the
Yes.
scene.
Yeah, it's
All of it's
great. Yeah,
fascinating.
because even with that scene where, yeah, Ada is frolicking with the trees and getting is it Ada? What's her name? What's the kid's name?
Flora.
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 Mhm.
When Flora's mimicking what she's seen and getting the Maori kids to do it too, and then Alistair comes, he tells her off, and when he gets her to stop, out of focus in the background, this kid is just straight up humping the bark of this and is
Yeah,
continuing to do so.
it's so
It's so good.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
really
it's
love
so
that.
good. Um, but
Uh,
Sam Neill is a character that you could easily shade as the villain at one point
mhm,
and say,
yeah.
okay, yeah, that's the bad guy. But even with him, there's times I feel sorry for him. There's times where I genuinely feel like he's trying. He's been cuckolded. I feel like there's this moment where it's about to become really dark, and that's after he's made an example of her in front of her kid. She's lying in bed with what must be a fever,
Oh,
after this infection, and she's half out of it. And a fascinating thing about this movie is the focus on bare skin. What Baines can see and touch, what Alistair can see and touch. This is a time that's not what we have today. You do not see anything, above the neck of a woman. And he sees, a piece of her skin on her leg, and he gets so riled up that it looks as if there's two moments in this movie where a rape is imminent, is
yeah,
going to occur with Alistair. And when he looks up to see that she is conscious and looking at him, there's this thing that hits him. And I was quite stunned by it because I was thinking, oh, he's not going to continue here. That's interesting. Her gaze, her openly looking at him has stopped him to such an extent that all of a sudden there's like this shame that's
yeah.
taken over him. He stops. And then he proceeds to do what he does at the end of the film, which is to let them go. I was like, oh, he's not the man that I thought he was then, I guess. I'm so fucking confused about Alistair. And again, you're played by Sam Neill, who you're trained to automatically love. So I feel even more conflicted. Yeah, I thought that was what was your guys' read on Sam Neill as a character? I couldn't get a handle on him.
I want to give Luke some space to express himself.
Oh, it's a hard question, right? Because I kind of feel the same about Keitel's character as well, in terms of being really hard to
That's
read.
true.
Because there's an interesting moment as well in the film where Ada is kind of trying to be intimate and sensual um,
Yes.
with Sam Neill's character. Do you know when she's like pulling his trousers down,
Right.
and then he has this moment of like he refuses her pass basically,
Yeah.
and again that's a little bit hard to read. And I think in general, going back to the scene where he sees Ada and Baines in together in his hut, like it's really hard and difficult to comprehend the motive there, because you have this blind obsession and it's hard to get your head around. So why is he staying to watch them?
Yeah.
Why almost not? Is he enjoying it? Is it just out of curiosity? Is it out of what is the motive there? Like, but why has he stayed to watch them? And then why has he later on refused intimacy from Ada, which is kind of like his 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 goal, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that and asked that question. I when I when Alistair is watching them through the slats, and then we see him again later on, he's underneath. Um, I've never questioned the why. It's just difficult to verbalize it. It feels so much to me that he has he's not in touch whatsoever with sort of like the more primal physical emotions and feelings. Who exists in that way and contains that depth in them is Ada and Baines, or are Ada and Baines. And Sam gets close to this precipice because he's being lured there by his strange infatuation with Ada as her own entity, but also she chooses somebody who is an uneducated man who normally is seen as like a brute by other folks like Alistair
Mm.
and their
Mm-hmm.
kind, but somebody who has found his place in this wilderness, um, and speaks its language in a different way. And it's all these things that Alistair is not, but he can't
Right.
unleash it. I don't think he's come to understand if he even has like that in him. Also, to surrender himself to Ada's touch, and her touch is so gentle and I think kind, and that level of sensuality and like where it takes time. It's a level of intimacy, even just the glimpses of skin that we get in this film. I think that's one of the things that I find so phenomenal in it, is that the sensuality of it. And it's not perhaps what normally, even in the 90s, you would say, oh, this is a very smutty movie. But like, that's the kind of, when I think of women writing romance in ways, it's when you
Mm.
make the yearning so much, and there's so much tension, where a bit of skin from a torn pant leg drives you to like
Mm.
mount this woman who's unconscious because you are feeling like crazed for her. I think it's that when he sends them off, like his craze, this desire for Ada, and to have her in this way that she and Baines exist together. He's like, but that's not me. He does not want that to unleash himself in that way. And the only way to cut that off is to send this temptation away, send
Mm.
her off and get him his peace of mind back, because he's not an individual built for or willing to go to that dark depth within himself. And I think that's why he sends them off. Cause I'm like, I think the first time watching, I was like, he's gonna kill her. He's gonna kill her.
Yeah,
That's how it's
totally.
gonna end. It can't end any other way. And what a relief to actually give the viewer something different, give me a completely
Yeah.
different reality, which I'm not expecting, which is they too get to be the little weird freaks wherever they land. Did they go back to
Yeah.
Scotland or England? And
Yeah.
he's this white man with traditional tattoos on his face, and she's a woman with a metal finger. And
Yeah.
they get to be the two freak gods, but living truly to themselves and for each other and themselves. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. It's so hard for me to try and pinpoint the motivation of that character of Alistair, and at certain moments, like step by step, because
Yeah.
when he views them having an affair, he chooses not to intervene or stop them, goes back home. Now she's back there and they're, having this family dynamic. And I'm like, oh, he knows. So, okay, so what's your next step? What's your
Yeah.
next step? I want to know. The next day, she's making her way back to Baines, and he steps out from a tree to confront her without words and to physically make her his there and then. I was like, whoa. Oh, like this? Again, it was so out of left field. And
And then a few days later, right, he then explicitly states that he now has this trust in
yeah,
her, which
yeah,
again is a little bit hard to get your head around.
that's true. That's true. Yeah. And then even that intimacy scene that you mentioned, Luke, there was something really interesting about it on this watch, because Carrie Ann was like, oh, she's imagining it's Baines. And I was like,
Yeah.
huh. And then when you look at her, she's closed her eyes as she's caressing his back and pulling his trousers down. I'm like,
Yeah.
interesting. And then he quickly covers himself and sits up. And I'm like, ooh, could he sense that? But the first thing he says is, why won't you let me touch you? So it's almost like he is maybe even subconsciously aware that he's just being used here as this fantasy object. You're not, I don't know. It's
To be
really,
second
really fascinating.
to not be, yeah, the first person she would think of. The vulnerability to when he sits up, all of it. There's so much in that scene, and like it's fascinating. I like even how she chooses to touch him too. The fact that it's not some, I don't know if I think of other scenarios where either in film or in literature you have this dynamic where you're being trapped by somebody who does want to engage with you sexually, but they won't let you go, whatever, that kind of a dynamic where normally
Yeah,
the act is like,
yeah.
get 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 that man off, normally going down on him or doing something like that. But this, she has so much, yeah, control power. I love that Carrie Ann said that she's imagining that it's Baines, because for a flicker of a moment I thought that too, but I didn't stay there. I didn't stay in that thought. But it's true. Like I think of the way she backhand palms the
Yeah.
piano. She does the same to Baines, um, and gives herself to him in that way. But there's so much in the language of how they touch. I mean, I was
So
like, there
much.
was a thrill in me when she's like touching the back of Sam Neill, like all of it. I was like
Mm.
nervous for him. Also, I couldn't remember. I really thought that, since it's been so many years, I thought that he has that act of violence against Ada right after she came home, and it's not that, which is truly so surprising. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
can't
yeah.
point them. That's what makes them also complex. Like how they.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that moment of intimacy that she gives Alistair, is that when they're boarded up? When he's locked the mum and daughter in the house? It is, right?
I
Believe
think
so.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Which again adds a whole other element to it, because you could see it as Ada just being really smart about what does this man want right now, and how can I take some semblance of control out of this entire situation. And in that moment, Alistair's never been so vulnerable, and it under her thumb. I don't know. I think that could be a part of it. There could be multiple things happening at the same time. It's crazy. And even when he takes the board, or even when he's boarding the place up, and Flora's like, "Up here, Papa." Like, you missed the spot. It's just, it's crazy. But then when he takes the boards off, how simply this girl just goes out and then starts chasing the chickens. Like, she has just had to, she's a child, so she probably, there's no wider context for her, but she has been boarded up inside a home. I mean, that is, when you look at the actual context of what's happened there, it's terrifying.
Yeah, that's true.
um,
Crazed man boards up wife.
yes.
I love when the Aunt Morag, she's like, "Well, you see, you've put the lock on the wrong side of
Yeah.
the door." I'm like, "Shut up, woman!"
Also hilarious. Also hilarious.
Like,
Um,
So
okay,
it's
so
like
then,
so obviously she's now been trapped by Sam Neill, and moving that along to the relationship between Ada and Baines,
yes.
Keitel's character. This is what I was alluding to earlier, where I was like, the relationship that I find the most difficult to decipher in terms of like the fires that the relationship is born out of, because starts off obviously super problematic, right? It's kind of like she is essentially being blackmailed for her piano into doing what she doesn't want to do. And
Yeah.
then it's almost like, oh, is there this element of Stockholm syndrome, or is it just like, where does this actual romantic feeling come from? Because that's a little bit hard to get your head around, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. And the interesting thing is, when Carrie Ann was like, "What movie are we watching?" and I
Mm.
described the piano, part of my description was, so yeah, and then from what I remember, this guy buys her piano or takes it from her and then basically rapes her in order for her to have the piano back. Now that's the way I put it. Was that
Mhm.
my recollection from the first viewing was that he rapes her. Watching it again on the second viewing, I was like, "Oh wait, hang on a minute. Is that?" I was like, "Wait, I'm all sorts of fucking confused about this."
Ah.
And it's clearly intentional, but yeah, it starts from a very awful, problematic place. Because the
Mhm.
thing is, the interesting thing is, Ada is also taking control here. She sets, she lays out the terms. She lays out how many keys, for instance, it will cost you to have me take my top off, and they negotiate on that. So there is some semblance of her taking control as well. And yet at the end of the day, it's coercion. And when you look at the power dynamics of the two of them, it's uncomfortably stacked on his end. So you're like, okay, obviously this isn't great. And then I don't know, because I think two things can be true. And I think that, yes, it starts off as she's just an object of desire and he has something over her that he has observed she clearly wants and desires, which is the piano. And he extorts that. And then I also think something develops out of that that is true and genuine, which is a connection. And sometimes I think that can be the case, right? Sometimes sex just isn't just sex, it's so intimate that something develops out of that that is real, that started off as just something physical and now is extremely emotional. So that's, yeah, the way I saw it was he is a bastard. He really is such a bastard. And then at the end, I was like, oh, he's so lovely. What a lovely man.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I
Yeah, yeah.
understand what you're saying for sure. Yeah.
It's, I'm really, really on the fence about it. I don't know. I
I
don't
love what you
know.
said. I believe there are two truths and two truths, and I think that's the. I'm gonna stick with that. That's great.
The thing is, I don't think that on Keitel's side of things, it's any point only physical. I feel like from the moment he first takes them down to the beach, right, and
Oh.
she's there playing the piano for the first time in ages, and you see him
Mm.
there listening to her voice, which is essentially the music she's playing, right? I think there's a desire that's like ignited him there that is more than just physical, and I think he's just this incredibly like isolated, socially unaware man that he doesn't know how to, and obviously because she's supposed to be with Sam Neill's character, like he doesn't
Sure.
know how to deal with those feelings.
Mhm.
um so
Yeah. I.
I think with that respect, I don't think from Keitel's point of view like it is just a physical desire from the start. um
Interesting.
it's more Ada's journey into that relationship that I find the most difficult to understand.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Because with Ada, I feel like the moment Baines is out of the picture, which he chose, right?
Hmm.
He's like,
Hmm.
I've given your piano back to you. And
Hmm.
what's the
Oh,
line that's very
yeah.
interesting? Because this whole situation isn't right, because you are, all it makes you is a whore and me a I can't remember the word he
Miserable. What is it?
miserable, something like that.
Something like
Yeah.
that. Wretched. Wretched.
Wretched.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
word. Wretched. And I don't know about if you guys agree with this, but I don't even think Ada realizes in that moment how she actually has feelings towards Baines until he's out of the picture. And then she's like, wait, what the fuck is this? Which is why I think she goes to his and he's like, why are you here? And gives a really romantic speech about, you are all I think about every moment of every day, which makes me feel miserable. So if you are not here to tell me that same thing, please go. And when she starts to hit him, and when she starts slapping him over and over, what I read into that was, how dare you fuck up the status quo? I came here to marry someone, and regardless of whether I felt anything for him or not, you have fucked this whole thing up in a way that even probably she wasn't expecting, when he was, let's be honest, being a bit of a creep and going, right, for this amount of keys, I want, right?
That is fascinating. I never thought of it that way when she's hitting him.
Really?
Oh, I
Really?
love that interpretation.
What were you
Oh
thinking?
my God. I feel like I felt that for different characters, definitely always in a period piece too, but like, because she doesn't have a voice, I interpreted it differently. Like, but I love that view on it. She could have made do and found ways to like placate Alistair and his desire for her and continued on. But he, again, I keep seeing him as this like twin flame wild thing, but very masculine in his own sense and feminine in his own sense too, that complements her so well. But also when she makes him jealous on purpose when they're at the play.
Yes,
She allows
yes.
Alistair to
I'm
take her
glad you
hand, and
mentioned
she's
that.
coyly
Yes.
trying to catch how, and then he walks away and she knows like she's in his grasp.
She grins.
The power dynamic
Yeah.
is both of them. They're both tug of warring with each other.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It's like I never bought into its full Stockholm syndrome ever, because I was like, they both have this thing over each other. But Luke, you bringing up that first time when, yes, he goes and takes them down to the piano, but I feel like his soul saw her soul when she's playing on that beach. And he already did know that there's something in all different elements of him, not just physical, that is drawn to her. But she's also like, she exists in a different way, because she doesn't communicate verbally. And also I really love when Flora tells like Aunt Morag or whomever that like, Mom doesn't believe that like people have much to say anyways, because a lot of it's so much hot air is nonsense. And Baines is a cuts to it man. He lives in his essence and doesn't have much time to play around. And when he recognizes that he wants her in that way, like, your body and soul, and if that's not what you're here for, I don't want to see you at all because it's what I want. Like, they both have that like intensity to them where it's like romantic, but I was like, I would be scared shitless if a man was saying like that romantic speech that you called it, Chris, that he gave. I was like, yeah, if you're not as this intense creature, and clearly she is, my God, even when she's like, I'm going to put my foot in the rope and go with my piano. Like, even if she's like, I'm still all of it is fascinating.
Yeah. And
they're all so weird and dark and like,
so like there's so much to wrap your head around. And the thing is, whenever they are being intimate, her and Baines, what I realized is he's never rough with her, ever.
he asks.
Yeah, he asks.
Pull your
There's
skirt
one
up.
moment where he's sort of pulling her towards him, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But for the most part, he's so gentle. He treats her like she treats her piano. Yeah. Like
And
a
he's
treasured
built
thing.
well.
And he's built, man.
See,
Harvey
all Keitel
Keitel.
again.
Fucking hell, that he is all man.
He's like iron. Like, I don't describe him.
yes.
He's so calmly, like, I feel like none of it's boasting either. He is calmly, like, even just like when he's alone with the piano and he's fully nude, I'm just so captured by Keitel's existence.
Yeah.
There.
I agree with you. Oh, when we pan up and he's completely nude, I was like, here we go. I said to Campion, I was like, here we go. I was like, Harvey Keitel loves to get nude in a movie. And then the biggest, here we go, I love this, tell me you guys noticed this, is when he finds out that Ada's been attacked because of their affair, and he hits the tree and he goes, "Ooh." And I was like, here's Keitel. Keitel has arrived.
What's
I just
that
thought
Harvey Keitel film we did?
Bad
Did we do
Lieutenant.
it as- oh yeah,
Bad
Yeah.
Lieutenant.
man. So it's the second full frontal Keitel scene we've had in PCP Film Club so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where he makes that high-pitched squeal. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, I don't again, yeah. You mentioned, Hannah, that scene where they're watching the play and he goes to sit next to them and then she stops him and is playing with his emotions. This is a movie that I think could benefit from like a scene by scene breakdown. You know, there's this really interesting screening that happens with this certain critic I follow, I don't know, but he will play a movie, like a classic movie, with an audience. And then the moment someone raises their hand and says stop, they stop the movie and they have a discussion about what's happening. I think that's such a cool idea. And I feel like if we watched this live and just had a play-by-play talk through running commentary of the movie, I don't know how long it would take us to get through it, because I think we would be stopping almost scene to scene and going, okay, so what the fuck is this? Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to say one thing that stuck out to me on this second viewing, which I thought was just masterful filmmaking. Flora has taken the key to Alistair and he has picked up the fucking axe and is now walking off. And you're like, oh God. And you follow this long moment where he's storming off and poor Flora's trying her best to keep up. He grabs Ada out of the house. He puts her hand on the stump and he's screaming at her, do you love him? Right? Something like that. Do you love him? And he asks her, he screams at her, do you love him? And the camera cuts to Ada's face in a close-up in that instance. And she is steel. She is giving nothing away, right? And her daughter shouts, she says no, right before he brings it down. And in that moment, I remember watching this last night. I turned to Carrie Ann and I was like, oh my word, that moment from Anna Paquin. As a child, again, you're trying to place everything in context. She thought she was doing the right thing for her and her mum by taking the key to Alistair. But in this moment, watching her mother get violently abused, usually she is her mum's, let's say, fairly accurate translator. He asks her, do you love him? Her mum says, let's be honest, nothing. And she says no. And I was like, oh my God, it's just that moment of defense, that instinctual, I'm coming to my mother's defense in this moment, even if it's a lie, that I have to make up something that she has said here. The way Jane Campion films that sequence with the rain and the way, you know, the genius way of bringing the axe down and not seeing visually seeing that take place, that was masterful. I thought that was wonderful.
That was a great dissection of it.
Yeah, and so obviously super brutal, and then forwarding on then to the point where she's on the boat towards the end and she's making that decision to throw the piano off the boat, right? What did you make of that? Because I was doing some reading and the actual ending in the film is not the ending that Jane Campion wanted.
Okay.
So she wanted she wanted Ada to stay underwater and drown with the piano,
Mm.
right?
Oh.
But obviously, what happens is she basically gets rescued, and then she goes and lives this relatively normal life
But
with
does
Baines.
she? But does she though? And
I believe
that is pure. Okay, is there only one version of this movie? What's the final shot of the movie, guys?
The final shot is her going back with the voiceover saying, um,
I think it's
with
when
her still stuck to the piano,
Right,
right?
right, right, right.
no, I think it's she and Baines are kissing because she's covered her face and she's practicing vocals and she's gliding along the front of the house and he stands against it and they kiss and she pulls it off.
Yeah, but then she starts doing the voiceover again, and then it
The
cuts back
yeah,
to under the water with the
the
piano and her
Oh
still attached to
yeah.
it,
she's still
and then it
Yeah,
fades to
attached.
black from there.
yeah,
Yeah.
because she keeps imagine she'll dream that she's still above the piano underwater in that silence.
Well, that's what I mean, because it's like she's maybe to her like she is as good as dead now that that voice is gone, like her piano is gone,
Right.
right?
So
Um, so
so
I guess that's why Jane Campion probably wanted to keep that ending because it's a bit bleaker and actually it kind of fits a bit better with what the film's trying to say in that moment, I think.
well, it's very interesting you say that, Luke, because I think that's Jane Campion. What's the saying called where you have your cake and you eat it?
Yeah, you did too.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what she's done there because how do you end? So this movie could have ended where Hannah, where you thought it did, where she kisses Baines and they're against the wall of that house and it's happily ever after. She chooses to end it with the image of her still attached to the piano.
Oh yeah.
And I truly think that that is meant to be ambiguous, where we are meant to discuss it as we are now and say, so did she die or
Mhm.
not? Because there's absolutely a read where she does, and everything that we've seen henceforth, where she takes her shoes off and then she survives, is just a that's a fantasy. That's not what actually happened. I feel like the reason we see that final shot is because that is the truth of it.
Mhm.
Or I was thinking, is it? Or is it exactly what you said, Luke? That's just that's a representation of how she now feels.
Mhm.
But then I was kind of like, but why would she feel that when she has another piano that she's playing with? Unless it was obviously there was sentimental value attached to that specific one. But she's got a new finger that he's made for her. She's teaching and she's playing the piano. So then why would you feel stuck to the bottom of the ocean? I was a bit confused as to the why of it all, which I suppose is the theme of this whole
Well,
chat.
what does she say about the piano when she's persuading them to throw it off? She says, "Oh, it's tainted."
It's tainted. Yeah.
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 Uh,
Okay.
huh.
I don't know. I feel like there's a read of this movie that is meant to make you think that she never got the shoe off, that it dragged her to the bottom.
Oh. I
Because
truly.
what?
Oh, go
But you
ahead.
both don't believe that?
No, I don't.
No.
I love knowing that Jane
Really?
like kill her because I was like, yeah, I can see that as an artist. I was like, I want to end
Yeah.
it strongly. This is her, but I guess just like personally, I was like, I get tired sometimes of seeing wild creatures be dampened and killed in any metaphorical way too in stories. I say show me a future where they get it right, where like the impossible thing that you won't expect, give me that. I literally don't know what would a happy Ada look like, the two of them together, and they showed me, and I never would have thought that was possible, and I'm more interested in that. But also I understand her putting her foot in the rope because all of this just happened too. She's just lost her voice because she has lost her finger. Like I too would be like, give it one last go to erase all of me because this is gone and it is tainted. And if you're tainted or abused in some way or you experience some sort of trauma, you sometimes want to be like the last way to be powerful is to say when you're out is to go with that thing and to drown yourself or whatever. But I mean, however they got her around to be like, all right, we got to end her with, she's got to live. But there's also something so haunting. Like I don't think of her later on in her voiceover. I would be dreaming too of that dead version of me, that
Mm,
version that no longer exists. And would that have been the
mm,
more peaceful out for me, is to end as that whole and damaged person? I know that's
mm.
oxymoronic, but you could have let yourself die as existing always as one thing. But I don't know that that lady ever had much joy besides Flora too. But there's something like drowning herself and letting that other part of herself, Flora, exist without her. Like that wouldn't make
Yeah,
sense to me either.
yeah. Okay.
um I don't know, but I do love playing that devil's advocate and being able to think like she could be. I think in my first watch, I really didn't believe that she made it out. I was like, she's dead. No, she's dead. And I was
Mm,
so deeply sad
mm.
about it. And this time around, but that's just life. Life has painted me in a different way in the years since.
You know, I, something that kind of makes me glad that Jane Campion didn't end it the way that, okay, on reflection, she wanted to. I think it's that the only real issue I have with the film is that it's a bit of a slow burn and it really takes its time to look into these characters
Mm.
and build these confusing but interesting relationships between them, which is great. But I think the way it finishes is too rushed.
Mm.
I think
Really? Mm, mm,
I think everything that happens post chopped finger
Mhm.
mm.
is happening too quickly.
It
Like
comes to a swift conclusion.
it's
Mm,
condensing all these quite big decisions and moments into just like pretty rapid fire scenes.
Yeah.
And the reason I
mm,
think that affects the ending is that when it gets to the point where they're on the boat and she puts her foot in the rope, it almost hasn't given us enough time to process why she makes that decision.
Mm.
Um, in real time. So I feel like if she did that and then she went to the bottom of the ocean and the film ended there, that would have been a bit like what just happened there. This film kind of just went from 0 to 100,
Yeah.
and it would have been a bit jarring, I feel.
yeah, I think that's a really good point, Luke.
Mm.
Actually, what you're saying, I think, just speaks to the strength of Jane Campion's writing. I think the writing was so fucking good. It was almost too good for this feature length film. And
Mm.
I want to see more of it. And that this is why I thought when I was watching it that this may be based on a book.
Mm.
Because you're right. I think subconsciously we get from that moment of the punishment to to this ending in a matter of just a few scenes. And it happens so swiftly that I thought we were maybe skipping a few steps. I
Mm.
Hmm.
liked it, everything that played out, but I think you're right there. I think you're right there. And but again, I think that I have never been able to watch a film and be like, this is surely based on a book. Whenever I say that, I look at it and it's based on a book.
Yeah.
So that I think the writing is so deep here that we could have, yeah, we probably could have benefited from an extra 20, 25 minutes. And yet, I think you're right, Luke. At one point, I turned to Carrie Ann and I was like, this is slow, isn't it? It's slow. It is slow. It's a slow burner. It's a very slow paced movie. It doesn't take away from the fucking genius of it. But yeah, it moves quite slowly, deliberately so, I think. Um, I have her final quote here in front of me. So she says, "At night, I think of my piano in its ocean grave, and sometimes of myself floating above it. Down there, everything is so still and silent that it lulls me to sleep. It is a weird lullaby, and so it is. It is mine." Very interesting. It is mine. That final, taking control again, taking ownership of something. I honestly, Hannah, you have kind of talked me around to it because I watched that ending and I was on the fence. I was like, I don't know. Did she? What does Jane Campion mean to get across here? Did she actually go down? Did she not? I'm left in the dark. Can it be both ways? But I'm willing to see your side of things, and I think, judging by things, yours as well, Luke, in that I think she survives. But the reason that I've come around to it is because of exactly what you said, Hannah. I think there are times in life where you have to let a part of yourself go in order to move forward. I think probably in life there are so many versions of ourselves that have to die. And then in order for us to move on in life and to have a different chapter, and we look back and we say, gosh, that was a certain period in my life, right? Where I had these certain relationships or these certain situations happening. And this is what I had to do in order to get out of it or just to move forward. And when I think about things, yeah, I mean, we could all be at the bottom of an ocean tied to a piano, just floating above it, having drowned in like so many various points in our lives. I feel like it's metaphorical, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And when you speak about it in that sense, I think that makes so much clear emotional sense to me that I think it's the strongest choice.
Yeah, there's something. I think it's when we're seeing her going under in that time with her voiceover. I kept thinking, or during it, that sometimes she went with what she was feeling in that moment, which was, I'm gonna sink this thing and I'm gonna go with it, and that'll be it. But then she did it and went with this big feeling and was surprised that some part of her had the will to live. And there's something about throwing yourself in full danger, because you, like, I can't envision, she probably couldn't envision her life without being able to play the piano. Like, maybe she's still in that shape too, not knowing we can get you another finger or whatever it is, but like who she was and everything, like was destroyed there. And making that leap, even though it would have been obviously a very gruesome death, I recognize that. I just recognize that feeling and the intuition to do something like that, that will put you at risk of dying, but will can surprise you with that euphoria of, I guess there is some, like, I don't know what's next, but something in me wants to live, and also allowing herself to fight for it instead.
Can I say how how much that speaks to me right now? How powerful that is. That rings so true to me, because I genuinely feel like there are moments in your life where you think to yourself, I genuinely don't think I can do it anymore. I feel trapped. I feel hopeless. I would rather not be here. And sometimes that thought is such an abstract kind of, okay, there's, I'm not actually saying that I'd ever, kill myself. But it is a joke that I constantly say to a friend of mine. I'm like,
Who was this friend? You have to call them.
yeah. He's like, oh, we talk about the future, and I'm like, it's okay, dude. I'm not going to be alive by then. I'll have done myself in long before then. But the thing is, as much as it's a joke, there's like a partial element of truth to it, where you think to yourself, I can't foresee anything ever getting better. I can't foresee myself ever getting out of this, whatever this is, whether it's like financial instability or whatever it is in life, the pressure that life gives you. And sometimes I think, fuck, if I could kill myself right now and just be done with it all. This is kind of life affirming, if the context that you're putting it, Hannah, which is, yeah, that's the easy way to go. But yeah, what if you just slip that shoe off, let yourself float back up? What is next? And 9 times out of 10, you do find yourself a week, a year, whatever later, laughing, happy, experiencing something that you never thought that you would. So I just think the way you're framing it right now, it's speaking to me that there is hope for something else, no matter how despairing or hopeless you feel in the moment. So I guess that's why I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? She didn't fucking die. She didn't die.
I guess
I
I had the
prefer that
same too.
version.
I was like, oh, I'm so happy that she didn't kill out this wild and singular person. I would have been so upset to have her snuff it out. And because the trope of the tragic artist, and I was like, please don't do it. Don't give into
Yeah.
it, please.
And poor fucking Flora as well. Like, that child does not need to go through anymore.
Yeah. And to be honest, I didn't even think about Flora until this call. Yes, just do it. Die as you were, I guess.
That poor girl, as resilient as she is, I think she's been through enough. I think she's been through enough.
Do you know what would have really annoyed me? And I'm so glad the film, like they chose not to do this. Is I remember the first time I watched this, I was expecting there to be like a almost revelation moment at the end where she finally says something to Baines.
Yeah.
Obviously, like using her actual voice, and I'm so glad they didn't do that, because that would have just been so gross, kind of.
Yeah. Oh, but also that makes me think back to in that mania that Alistair was, and he's talking to Bane. Wasn't she talking to Bane? And he's like, I swear she did not speak with her mouth.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was not moving, but he heard that, and I was like, oh, there's some like mysticism happening here that was so creepy to think of. But I was like, that is exactly what she would have said, I think.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he got to this level of like connected with, I was like, I don't know, so creepy.
And considering the moment he was in, which is again the great shame that he was caught in, that to me felt like that was just his conscience speaking to him, you know. But there was also something, I swear, earlier on when her and Baines were together.
Yeah,
she goes and she whispers something, or she tries to.
Yeah.
Yes. And one of the first things that Alistair says is, has she ever spoken to you? And he denies it. And I was just like, Campion, you're fucking with us here.
And I believe it. I believe she never did. Because I was like, I would believe that Bane would immediately say no to save her.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, but I believe it. And there's like this weird creepiness. Like, they're both it seems like they're all under a spell. Or like, but Alistair's really the one caught in the spell is the magnetism between Ada and Baines. And Alistair is just this bystander that got caught in the circumference of this intensity. And he is driven crazy. But like, I was thinking during something that you guys are saying, it clicked to me that like, I kept trying to think of motivations of where I keep comparing it, like Baines is absolutely attracted to her, infatuated and enthralled. But he recognizes, like, if I can't have her in that way, if she doesn't want me in that same way, it's not matched. He doesn't want it. It's like he loves it and lets it go. And we're like, why don't you give her the piano back? Because that's it for him. That's how I think he lives and loves. And with Alistair, this thing that kind of creeped him out about her, she's so intense about her piano, is the thing that lures him to her. He wants to possess her, and this person who has this incredible thing and this entity. After chopping her finger off, and he has her weak and everything, and even that after that moment of the shame moment they brought up, he does not want the prized thing because he took away what made it special, and says that maybe that spell's kind of broken, or he has a moment of clarity for himself, like, I'm going crazy, this is not who I am, I've taken this thing from her too. It's like if you got, like, I don't know, the prize peacock, it has a sickness, lost all its feathers, you're like, I don't want this thing, I just wanted it for the feathers and because other people coveted it. He never loved her. And yeah, I don't know. So I was like, when he gives her up, I was like, I'd have to honestly live inside that character's head to really
honestly
find the path to it. But I don't question it, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I don't question the motivation because I was like, I know it makes sense. I just like, I can see pieces of the pathway to that decision.
Yeah. I never
This
even thought
being
about
scared
that.
of also that mania. Like that man was a pretty normal man, pretty bland, kind of boring. Um, and then he got ignited and he's petrified. He's like, I'm gonna burn myself up. Like he did something incredibly violent. That man wasn't violent before.
Yeah, and like and yet it was his decision to leave the fucking piano behind.
Yeah.
It was his choice. It was Baines that had to be like, hang on, let me do a deal with you. I'll give you land for it. If it was up to Alistair, would that thing have just been left on the beat? I don't
Yeah,
know.
but neither of them had witnessed her with it until they did,
True,
you know? There's
true,
that. Like
true.
he didn't know Ada before that. Oh shit, wait. When is the first time he hears her play the piano, Alistair?
Um,
Because now there's
When
like
the piano's back at
when it's back inside,
when
right?
yeah,
after Baines.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, I think his attraction and desire to like own her, whatever, be with her, and all that stuff. Like, and now I'm gonna track it. I have to rewatch it back
Oh my God. Because
because
yeah,
it's
now I'm
elusive.
trying
Like,
to,
he doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know anything about her.
yeah.
Period. Like, he has not heard her voice.
And
So,
now I'm trying to think of it as an actor, right? So if I was given the script of the piano and I'm playing the role of Alistair and I'm trying to figure out every step of the way his motivation, maybe it would be prudent of me to just go back to the fucking title of the film if I'm ever lost,
okay.
right? And then and think about the impact that the piano itself can have at a certain moment of the story in terms of her abilities with it and what, like we've all said, I love what we've said in this discussion, that's her voice. And now I need to, oh God, do I need to watch it again? Do I need to read it? Maybe I need to read it.
Yes, get a little copy. It's really
If
thick.
you've
Jesus.
if you've read the screenplay, like, are there actually any like glaring differences between the final polished film and
It's been too long for me to say. I have the copy right upstairs. I was gonna crack it open last night, but I was like, maybe not, because I thought it would give me a different view or something.
sure.
Discussion. Now I will reread it.
Yeah, this seems like a script that you read for sure because I just want to know how it reads on the page. We've seen the film. I want to know, is it exactly what was taken from the page? Is there something more to it? And I just need to know. I've been reading all of Christopher Nolan's scripts recently in the build up to the Odyssey, and I'm on Interstellar now. And it's fascinating how sometimes a script like The Dark Knight Rises is less than what you get with the movie, or Inception, which is exactly almost to a T what you get with the movie. So when something as deep and complex as this, I'm getting an urge to know. I mean, even something as simple as Alistair's line when he sits with her and is like, I'm going to trust you. You're not
Yes.
going to see Bane, right? Okay, good. Maybe in time you will grow to like me. And he gets up and he leaves, and I'm just like, oh, that's so sad.
It
That is
is.
so
It
sad.
is.
And I suppose
He's
when you have an
yeah,
actor like Sam Neill playing that part, it's brilliant because it truly does what Jane Campion, I guess, wants it to do, which is work on you unexpectedly.
like
um,
he's never felt love, and even like the simplest, like gentlest kind of like childhood like love. Like, yeah, it just feels like he's so afraid of that rejection. I think like I feel like some of that transforms in him into that, like the ugly things or the times where he tries to take advantage of her. I don't know, it's so many things in
yeah,
him.
and yet he's a conqueror. He's a
Oh yeah.
settler. He claims. That's
Yeah.
what he does. And I think
Oh,
and to be so cuckolded at a home, and oh my God, it's when you think about it, the
and I
juxtaposition that Campion has created here and who his character is genius. Yeah,
wait, sorry.
it's genius.
Wait, that's so
Sorry, did we
good.
get cut off?
I heard cuckolded something something genius.
Yeah, no. I think I stopped there and I was like, it's just genius.
That was
It's just
good.
genius.
So I was like, you know what's
Um,
funny? On this watch, you realize that the other settlers make so much fun of Baines because he's an illiterate like Englishman. And I'm like, oh my God, like he's also the freak there. Like, and imagine being cuckolded by that guy, the weirdo illiterate
yeah.
guy. God,
Yeah,
that
but
must
that
doubly
actually
burn.
that brings to mind the other scene where he's just washing his clothes in the river. Don't they mention Bane's wife?
Oh yeah, he's like, oh, I have a wife, and she's like, you wouldn't want that treasure just sleeping on your stomach. All of that
Yeah.
is so crazy to me.
But
Um,
that drops this hint of backstory of hang on, has Baines actually got a wife back in England?
beats me.
Because if he has, he's now come home with Ada. That's not so simple. Or is she dead? It never goes into that.
Is she even
Again,
real? Is what hit me. I was like,
true.
Is it? It's not England they go back to at the very end, though, is it? It's
Where is it?
Scotland.
It's Nelson. That's
Where's
not.
Nelson? Yeah, where's
Where-
Nelson? Luke?
Isn't that in Australia? Maybe I
Dude.
might be wrong.
Oh
that'd be
shit!
a shorter.
Yeah. A shorter trip. Yeah.
I'm googling it right now.
Oh yeah, please do.
Okay.
Oh, Nelson. It's just a town in New Zealand.
Oh, okay. Good for them.
Oh,
They didn't
okay.
even. Okay, great.
They just went
I'm
around the
relieved.
corner. I don't. Have you both seen any of Jane Campion's other films? Did you? So, in terms of Oscar love, she won the Oscar for her writing for this movie, best screenplay. And you know what? After this discussion, absolutely deserved. And then she won the Oscar for best director for The Power of the Dog, which I remember a big deal about with Benedict Cumberbatch, it being a Western, but very much an anti-masculine Western. I remember watching it, feeling very bored by it at the time I watched it. I kind of feel like I need to revisit that now. But have you both seen any of her other films?
Yes.
I've only seen Power of the Dog,
Okay.
and I quite liked it. I remember us having this
Ah.
discussion, Chris. I think quite a long time ago. I think
Oh,
we were on one of our rare disagreements.
oh,
Oh.
okay. Okay. All
I
right.
gotta do
Maybe
what
we'll
you guys
discuss
have
this
done.
again then.
I need to watch The Power of the Dog. I have not watched it.
Ooh.
I planned on it for a while too because I was like, oh, Campion's back. Okay, interesting. But I
Yeah.
watched all of Top of the Lake, which is 2 series that she did. What the fuck is that second season? If y'all ever do that, please talk to me.
Really?
Love the first season, truly. What? Yeah, please. I was like, okay, she's literally lost her fucking marbles.
Oh.
Truly, I don't know how to describe it to you guys. Bright Star, and I completely forgot that she directed Bright Star because that was another film I was thinking of suggesting in this group, but I want to jump around to different filmmakers. But Bright Star,
Oh, haven't
and that
seen
one,
it.
you just weep. You just weep in one moment. Yeah, but that one I really love.
Okay. All right. Bright Star. Have you seen it, Luke?
No, and I'm just looking at Top of the Lake now. I've never even heard of it.
Top of the Lake. One, Elizabeth
Ooh.
Moss. I think she's a phenomenal actress. So crazy she's a Scientologist. She was born into it. But yeah, Top of the Lake season 1. Really enjoyed that a lot.
I had heard of Top of the Lake and had no idea Campion was a part of it. But to me, I was like, I've never seen it, but in my head, I was like, anything Elizabeth Moss is in is a winner, usually. So
She does. Have you ever seen The Smell of Her? I haven't, but I want to. And I'm like,
no,
okay,
I've heard of it.
fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Jane Campion, just this, Bright Star. And now I'm curious. I've always wanted to watch The Portrait of a Lady that she did 3 years later with Nicole Kidman. Because I've seen stills of it and it looks beautiful.
Yes, it
Never
does.
found out
It does.
it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Never seen it. And
Yeah.
And I think Jane Campion winning the Oscar for Best Director, it's one of those landmark moments, right? Because whenever a female director wins, it's a big deal and they talk about it. And so, yeah, so Power of the Dog, I think definitely watch it, Hannah. Let me and Luke know what you thought because we've seen it, but I think after this reappraisal of the piano, I think that's something I'd like to dive back into. Just her
Yeah, I hope so.
filmography.
Yeah.
For sure. You mentioned at the top, Hannah, you've seen some of her shorts, and I was looking up her career, Ellie, and I was like,
Mhm.
ooh, shorts always get me interested, right? Because that's usually the
Mhm.
starting point, and I always am interested in the starting point.
And you
So,
know what? I did the classic thing where I was just like, oh, it was a woman. I was thinking of another movie I'm thinking of making you guys watch is a movie called Fish Tank by Andrea Arnold.
Andrea, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
the short film I was thinking of is actually her short film, Milk. Because when I watched Fish Tank, I was like, I think this film is phenomenal, but I never want to watch it again. I'm so sorry. I keep doing that with
Honestly,
you guys. Like the Nightingale.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. I love doing
I
this.
remember I remember the Nightingale. Yeah. Yeah. Um I've heard of Fish Tank. Actually, Andrea Arnold is from Kent, the area where Carrie Ann is from. And yeah, I've seen American Honey from her and I thought it
Okay.
was wonderful. I
Okay.
thought it was wonderful. And I've
Me
heard a
too.
lot about Fish Tank, so I would love to. I would love to, by the
Yes.
way.
I'm so glad you
Never
like
even heard of her.
Yeah, yeah.
it.
It's meant to be worth watching. Yeah, so let's see whether we do. But yeah, I mean, I think the only other thing I'll say to wrap this up is exactly what you said. You both said at the start. Before you joined, Luke, I was listening to it. Michael Nyman's score. It's weird because it's one of those pieces of music where you listen to it and you're like, oh wait, that's from this. It's just like a known theme and
Mm.
it's absolutely go- every time he returns to it in different variations, it's gorgeous. It's a wonderful piece of music. So one thing for me that I love is in film club or in the regular movies of podcasts we watch, if there's a piece of music or two or an album that I have to download on Spotify immediately after. And as I was sitting there still on the sofa, I was like, downloading this track, downloading this track. I was listening to it today. It's incredible. Yeah, I think. And is Holly Hunter actually playing the piano? Because it looks as if she is. I mean,
I think she was. I think she was. Yeah, it did look like
yeah,
it for
it
sure.
feels like Jane Campion is very pointedly showing her playing and tilting up to Holly Hunter
Mhm.
very specifically, like definitely showing us. So if that's the
I
case, wow.
I really like the I know you just mentioned this, but I really like the variations on the theme that he does. Obviously, there's the main theme where she is actually like diegetic there, her playing it, but then there's a lot of kind of different versions of it. Like there's quite a jovial version that he plays
Yeah,
with like the lighter moments
yeah,
that he kind of layers on top, and it's just quite nicely done because it's a beautiful theme, and it's just quite nice how he plays around with it, I think.
yeah, totally. Speaking of jovial version, there's another moment in the movie that is unreal. And I think it's like she's playing the piano. Baines is really now he's gone past the point of just listening and he wants to just touch her and be physically involved with her. And as he's beginning to do that, she turns this beautiful melody she's playing into this like ba 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 ba
Oh
ba
yeah,
ba ba
yeah.
and he just stops because it completely breaks the mood of whatever it was he was and then we just cut to the next and I thought that was fucking genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
That's
Anyway, um any other final thoughts on the piano, everybody?
Not from me.
No, I'm good. Spoken a lot. Thank you.
I am so stuck on a rating because I have just raved this movie for an hour and 46 minutes and 45 seconds, and
You can
fuck.
still have hang-ups too.
The only hang up for me, in all truth, is the pacing of it. I think it is quite slow. Okay. But this is how I felt. The first time I saw the movie 2 or 3 years ago, it was a solid 3. 3. Watching it for this film club, it bumped it up a whole point to a 4. I was like, this is way better than I thought. I'm almost willing to go to a 4.5 based on everything I love about the movie. Hi there, girlie. Who's that? Who's that?
This is Mingao, the one-eyed cat.
Mingao. Is that a he or she?
It's a he.
Yes, he has interrupted us before. Yes, I apologize. I should remember Mingao.
It's a weird word, but you're Portuguese.
Yeah, what did Mingao think of it? Any
Uh,
patience?
I think they fell asleep upstairs.
Yeah. Okay, fair. That's fair. I don't blame him. All right, I'm just gonna stick with my guns and say it's a solid 4 for me. Luke.
Nice. After, so my rating when I watched it the first time was 4 stars. I think after this watch, I'd push it up to a 4.5. Yeah, literally the only gripe I have of the film is what I mentioned earlier about the pacing, like right at the end.
Yeah.
It was like, I feel like they crammed it a bit too much, but that's honestly the only thing I can think of.
Oh, so that is the thing that knocks a 0.5 off for you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fascinating. Okay. Hannah?
I'm in a loving mood, guys. Everything's a 5 recently. It's a 5, and I agree with the pacing thing a bit. I just don't know. I guess because in my limited imagination, I was like, I really don't know that I'd want to see so much more of it, because they gave us a quick glimpse of her life before, a quick glimpse of her life after. I'm like, okay, this story was about the death of that piano.
This bit. Yeah.
something about it. I make peace with it, and I'm okay with it. So 5 for me. And this discussion has brought up so much. There have been so many moments where you guys are discussing something in your viewpoints that really enriched the material for me even more so than I had previously thought. So I'm so grateful.
Oh, I love that. Me too. Do you know what? Fuck it. 4.5. It's a 4.5.
I swear I'm not trying to be a salesman over here.
Excellent. Oh, great pick, Hannah.
Oh, I'm so glad. This has been lovely. Also, who is picking next? I'm like so ready to go into another thing.
Yeah, me too.
Pick,
honestly. Chris? No, it's Zaylin. So Zaylin, he's at Wimbledon, I think, right now. So he was like, signal's very patchy. I don't think I'll make it, but I'll send you my pick. As you can imagine, you can rely on Zaylin to send us an international pick, which he has. And he has sent us a film that, this is so weird. I literally read about this movie last week because there's a new movie out called Girls Like Girls, which is...
Hayley Kiyoko.
There you go. So, you know that movie. So, yeah, it's this lesbian coming-of-age romance movie. Mm-hmm. And the review I read of Girls Like Girls said that this movie that Zaylin has picked is a better version of Girls Like Girls. And that is the 1998 Swedish movie Show Me Love, also known by its original title, Fucking a Mole. So Zaylin said it's Pride Week or Pride Month. I can't remember which one it is. And he said, so let's just do this. Now, this will obviously come out, I think it's Pride Month. So it will come out long after Pride Month, but it's considered to be a classic. And he said the director, Lucas Moodysson, he said it was his feature-length directorial debut and it premiered at Cannes.
Wicked.
So
Okay.
the fact, just the fact that I'm like reading a review of this brand new 2026 movie that references this 1998 Swedish film just last week, and then Zaylan picks it. I'm like, this is fucking perfect, isn't it? Isn't it perfect? So yeah,
I've never even heard of it, so I'm very curious.
me too. Me
Oh, this is
too.
great.
So yeah, we'll do that, and I will liaise with Zaylan about when is best for us to meet. But that will be the next film. So can't wait. Thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
As always, great pick, Hannah. Thank you for that. And yeah, thank you all for listening. I hope to see you on the next one as well. Until then, this is the Phoenix Cinema Podcast Film Club. Join us next time for the Swedish movie Show Me Love, aka fucking Amal. And we hope you enjoyed listening. Happy watching, and bye for now.